Hello everybody, this is Tyler here once again from the Character Workshop, and I don't have a special intro this time around. So, for today's episode, you guys, some of you may remember a while back, in the first season of Escape from England, I did an episode about British commercials. And one of the last commercials that I covered in that episode was a UK dub of an American M&M's commercial. And in that episode I was like, it's kind of weird they dubbed the human actors that were in that original American commercial. And yeah, for a long period of time I've wanted to do an episode of Escape from England talking about why, you know, some stuff from the UK gets dubbed in the US and why some stuff in the US gets dubbed in the UK. Well, let's discuss about it today. Now, to my knowledge, there isn't really that much of an explanation as to why a lot of, you know, British shows get dubbed in the US and vice versa. And to my knowledge, the only other user that I know on YouTube that's done a video talking about this is a user by the name of Ed Ake. And he pretty much, in his video, talked about why a lot of, you know, Hollywood-produced American animated movies, you know, often have, like, you know, one minor character, you know, get dubbed by somebody else in the UK. A lot of examples of this are Shrek 2, Ralph Breaks the Internet, did I mention Shark Tale? Yeah, I mentioned Shark Tale already. Shrek 2, and the list goes on. And it made me think, yeah, that is kind of weird. And, you know, personally, I am thankful that it's not, like, you know, main characters of the movies that are, you know, getting redubbed in the UK, but yeah, it's still weird, and, you know, it just makes you question, like, why? And the same thing goes with, like, you know, UK TV shows that get dubbed in the US. And from, you know, watching these shows and, you know, just, you know, getting sort of an idea about them, I've noticed that while I've been watching some of these shows, like, a lot of the UK shows that get redubbed in the US are often, like, children's shows or preschool shows or whatever. There's, like, several examples. There's Thomas and Friends, Bob the Builder. The list goes on and on. I could list, like, several other British, you know, kids shows that got redubbed in the US, but that can take all day. And it does make you question, like, why do they do that? Are, like, American families just concerned that, like, you know, their kids are gonna end up talking differently if they watch those shows? I don't know. It's kind of dumb most of the time, I would say. I don't know. And you know, the same thing goes with the UK. Now, to my knowledge, I don't think there's as many American kids shows that get redubbed in the UK as there are UK kids shows that get redubbed in the US. But kind of like with you know, the UK, a lot of some, you know, US, you know, children's or preschool shows get redubbed in the UK for some reason. Like, I don't know. I'm gonna use, like, a more, I guess, not so recent, but, like, you know, not a very old show either. Yo Gabba Gabba. Now, all 5 of the costume characters in that show pretty much got redubbed in the UK, and, you know, that's one thing. But what's even weirder is that they, if I'm not mistaken, they redubbed DJ Lance, the human host of the series. Like, he already had a voice. It's like, it's so weird that they would do that. I don't know. It's very questionable. And funny enough, going back on topic with Nick Jr., another well-known Nick Jr. show got you know, revamped in the UK. And another well-known example of this was Blue's Clues. And I'm sure a lot of you guys know about this story. Now, if you've watched Blue's Clues in the US, you guys remember the two main hosts. There was Steve, who was on there for a while, and then the later seasons we had Joe. However, in the UK, they had a completely different person. So in the UK broadcast of Blue's Clues, the guy that they pretty much had as the host was named Kevin. And yeah, for a lot of, UK fans that, like, would later research Blue's Clues online, and they found out that in the US, two other people hosted the show that weren't Kevin, would be pretty confused. Like, why did they do this? I honestly, I don't know. A part of me feels like they're like, just like that comment I made it earlier about, US parents. I have a feeling UK parents probably felt the same thing. Like, oh, we don't want our kids talking like, those, dumb old Americans. We want them talking, more like us. I mean, I'm pretty sure, like, if a child is, like, around their parents for, like, a lot enough, they'll develop, their accent, I guess. Or maybe it's genetics. I have no idea. I personally don't think it's that much of an issue for, like, to keep, a show as, as close to the original as it is. Yeah, I just don't know why some, like, children's shows do this. Now, thankfully, not every show does this. Like, I know a lot of the, like, pretty much everything from, like, Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, and Disney, pretty much stays the same in the UK. Like, there's no voice changes, so there's that. And then some of you are probably wondering, like, oh, you've mentioned that it's just, like, children's and preschool shows that get dubbed in both countries. What about, shows that are, like, more for, like, general audiences or adults? Well, I'm thankful to say they don't do that. And I'm gonna assume that, like, when people get older, they sort of, like, know more about, like, other countries in the world, and, they're a bit more familiar with, like, how they talk and stuff. Which is why I think they normally don't bother dubbing, shows, not shows, shows meant for older audiences. Like, for example, all the Star Trek shows, the original series, Next Generation, so on and so forth, those shows were produced in America, and, they've been broadcasted in the UK for, like, almost as long as they've been broadcasted here in the US, and they haven't bothered, dubbing those shows because, those shows are intended for older audiences, and, like, older audience members in the UK can understand American accents better than, I guess a child can. I don't know. This video is, like, turned out to be, like, one just huge mystery. Like, why do they do this? And there's been no official answers. And the same thing goes for, like, older audience, UK shows. Mr. Bean, for an example. Well, then again, with Mr. Bean, there's not that much dialogue in there, so there isn't really that much of a point of dubbing it. Which is a show for general audiences, like, and plus, the show is primarily, like, a lot of the things that go on is, like, done without vocals, you see the actions, you laugh and stuff, and so on and so forth. And Doctor Who's another example. They've never bothered dubbing Doctor Who in the US. Doctor Who's pretty much remained the same when it was broadcast in the UK, both the classic series and the modern series. Blackadder's another example. They kept that show the same when it's broadcasted in the US. Monty Python's Flying Circus, that stayed the same. Red Dwarf. So many other, general audience / mature UK shows pretty much stay the same in the US, And vice versa with, like, American shows for older audiences being the same in the UK. No changes there. So, honestly, at the end of this episode, I still don't have an official answer as to why, some shows from the UK get redubbed in America, and then vice versa, with American shows getting redubbed in the UK. I guess, I don't know. Take your pick about which you prefer. Do you prefer shows as they were intended to be? Or are you kind of okay with, like, redubs of whatever shows are out there? Like, I know there are a lot of, American audiences that have grown very accustomed to the US dub of Thomas, so honestly, it's pretty much considered almost as praised by Thomas fans as much as the UK dub, so I don't know. And, I personally enjoy the US dub of Thomas, it's what I grew up with, and yeah, But I do appreciate the UK dub every now and then. Don't make it seem like, oh, you prefer this because you're American, duh. Nope. I find, positives in both versions, honestly. And funny enough, it has been quite some time since I've had a pretty short episode of The Kid from England. So, hopefully you guys enjoy that. There wasn't really that much to talk about in this episode. It's just, my theories and, just like a history of British shows getting redubbed in America and then American shows getting redubbed in, the UK. But tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Would you prefer, shows staying the same as they are? Or are you perfectly okay with, these redubs? Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. And with that being said, that's about it for this episode of Came From England. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to give it a like, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more episodes of Came From England, or just mediocre plush content in general. Leave a comment down below letting me know what you think. That's about it. This is Tyler from the Character Workshop, signing out. Next time, we sort of continue the topic of, American dubs of British shows by talking about what I personally think is considered the most, mixed bag, narrator of Thomas and Friends. You either love him or you hate him.
Tick, tick, tick.